Hello everyone, welcome to an online edition of Analyzing Crime. Today we are going to go over the material of the previous class, which was on crime mapping. Particularly, we're going to be focusing on how to use ArcMap to create beautiful maps that you can insert in your papers and publications. Importantly, the purpose of this video is also to, to serve you as a reference for whenever you are asked to create a map. You can always go back to the video and hopefully understand the basics of ArcMap and how to produce an outstanding map. So as you guys know, to whenever you guys are asked to create a map, you guys are going to have to use the Citrix desktop. So you click on the link that I provided you on Blackboard, log on with your information, and once you are logged in, then you're going to click on Citrix desktop. Now that you are logged in, you can go right ahead and search for ArcMap. You're going to click on ArcMap 10.6. All right, close this window, expand this window. In the previous class, we were talking about the spatial distribution of minority stops in New York City. So to open up a map, you're going to have to open up the shapefile. Now, I provided you with some shapefiles, but you can always go online and search for any search file on any geographic location or boundaries that you're interested in. This is just the point of this is just to learn how to map. And so we're going to be using NYPD stops of minority individuals in 2012. So to open up a shapefile, you guys are going to click on Add Data. Click on Connect to Folder. Search for your folder where the data is, and click OK. Click on the shapefile that you're interested in opening, and here you have a map of New York City. Now, as you guys remember, ArcMap sort of gives you like a default color, and you can change not only the color of the map, but also the thickness and color of the outlines. So to do that, you click here, and let's say you want the color of the map to be white. You want to change the outline of the color to be, let's say, 80% gray, and make the outline a little thicker. The outline width maybe 1. You click OK, and it does that for you. But remember, the point of this exercise is to create a map that shows the spatial distribution of minority stops in New York City. So how do we do that? Well, if you right click on Census Track, the first thing that you see is that you have a database attached to the shapefile, right? So this is not just geographic information. For each census tract, you also have the number of white stops, the number of minority stops, and a whole bunch of other data. So our purpose here is to examine the spatial distribution of minority stops. So you're going to right click a census tract, click on properties, symbology, because we're going to be dealing with a quantitative variable, which is the number of stops. You're going to click on quantities, and for value, we're going to be looking at the variable minority stops. You can change the color scheme however you want, but I'm just gonna leave it in this scheme. You can change the number of classes however you want, but for the sake of consistency, let's do 4. Again, if you want to change the classification system, the default in ArcMap is natural breaks, but you can change it to quantile, geometrical interval, which we talked about, standard deviation, quantile, defined interval. However you want to do, you can do it manually as well. But let's just, for the sake of consistency, let's just use the natural breaks. Click OK, and click OK. So here's a map of minority stops in New York City. Now, we mentioned that for this map, it will be useful to also know more or less where the police precincts are, what are the political boundaries of different police precincts. And so to do that, to add those boundaries on top of this map, we're going to have to get another layer, which I provided for you. So to do that, and I'll show you a different way actually of also opening up a shapefile in ArcMap. So to do that, you can open up the folder on precincts. And literally just click, hold, and drag into ArcMap, and it shows you a map, but in this case, a map of that sort of outlines the political boundaries of different police precincts in New York City. Now, all we care about is the outlines. We don't care about the color. So let's change the color to none. And to do that again, you're going to click on this little box, and the fill color, let's just click on no color. Let's make the outline width of these boundaries 1 and the color black, and click OK. And now you have a better idea of the precincts. So now that you have your map ready, we need to add a couple of elements to the map before we can actually save it as a picture. To do that, we are going to switch from data view to layout view. And layout view essentially shows you how your map will look when you save it into a picture. So obviously this doesn't look very well because it doesn't fill in the page. So let's try to increase the size of the map. Maybe try to increase the size of the actual page. There we go. Now, an important element of a map is the legend. And so to insert a legend, you're going to click on Insert, Legend. We don't need the info on the police precincts. You can add a border to it. You can add a little bit of shadow to it. And you can even change the color of the background if you like. Click Next. And now there's some things that we want to change about the legend, right? Sort of, we don't want the Census Track New York City information here. So let's just delete that. And we should change this to number of minority stops. And as you can see, whatever information you change here automatically gets updated here. It's very important to remember that whenever you want to move the map, you have to click on pan here. And whenever you want to move, let's say you want to move this legend box, then you click on select elements, and then you can move it. The next element that is really important in a map is the title as well. And to do that, we're gonna go to insert, title, and let's just call this number of minority stops in New York City, year 2012. If you want to change, sort of make this a little bolder, you can just double click on it, click on change symbol, and click on bold, click OK, and here you have a very basic title. Well, let's say that you're happy with this map and you want to sort of export this map into a picture that you can paste into your documents. To do that, you're going to go to File, Export Map. You're going to click on the folder where you want to save it, give it a proper title or proper name. You might want to change it to the type of picture that you want, whether that be a JPEG or a TIFF. And give it the proper resolution that you might need. 250 is plenty for most uses. And click Save. Now you have a picture of this map on your desktop. So let's look for it. And there it is, a picture of your map that you guys can use in your homework or reports or publications.